My husband asks me, "So, what are you going to do with the placenta that's in the freezer?" Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm a stay at home mom who's skeptical of the status quo, and I've been trying to reconnect with a more instinctual side of femininity. So, if you want to walk on the wild side with me, keep watching. This is a bonus video to close off my first birth story. And in this one, I'm going to be talking about my experience eating my own placenta. I'll tell you how I did it and why I did it. And of course, I'll give you my honest, unfiltered opinion about the whole thing. When I got pregnant, I was preoccupied with the human being that I was creating, and the placenta wasn't even at the back of my mind. It was my midwife who brought the subject up, and she told me there are different options. It could be properly disposed of, it could be planted. Some people eat it raw, like in a smoothie. And she wanted to know what my plan was. I said I'd have to get back to her on that. So then I went home and I did some research. Apparently, the street value of a placenta is like $50,000, and it could be higher if it was removed via C section. But I didn't really know how to go about selling a placenta, and I wasn't going to hang out in a back alleyway to figure that out. Regardless, I got a better understanding of the true value of this organ. Rather than having it taken away from me by the medical system without recognition or reward, I decided I'd keep it and then I'd have my options open. So, why do some women eat the placenta? Well, the placenta is rich in B vitamins and hormones like oxytocin, progesterone, and estrogen. And eating it is thought to help replenish these nutrients and support energy and postpartum healing. It's even said to regulate mood, so this means postpartum depression might be lessened. There's also the presence of prolactin, which could help boost lactation. I've also read that this might have the opposite effect. Its richness in iron may also reduce inflammation, support tissue repair, reduce postpartum bleeding, and promote faster recovery. Some women do it because that's just what other mammals do, so why wouldn't we? Are we so disconnected from our primal instincts that placenta consumption has just flown out the window? Or are we supposed to be higher beings who don't act like that? Verified studies on the practice are few, and the CDC recommends against it because of contamination risks. But like most Western medicine, there could be other factors at play. Perhaps the 50K price tag might have something to do with it. I don't know. Some folks say it is a terrible idea to consume this organ because it is kind of like a toxin sponge. It's supposed to filter out the bad things so they don't get to the baby. But we eat other animal organs like liver, so why would that be any different? These are all just questions and I don't know the answer. So if you are going to consume your own placenta or you're thinking about it, please ask around, talk to your midwife, OB, doula. Get to know your options and know the risks and the potential rewards. What I've read is that the placenta acts more like a bridge between the mother and baby, allowing nutrients and oxygen to pass from the mother's blood into the baby's. But there are some powerful toxins that can pass through, like prescription drugs, recreational drugs, alcohol. You know the deal. Unlike our liver, whose job is to break things down, the placenta transfers waste back to the mother so that her liver and kidneys do the processing. What are your thoughts so far? Are you tempted, mortified, curious? Let me know in the comments below where you're at. Now, back to my story. After my home birth, the placenta actually stayed in a bowl beside me, and I just really wasn't paying any attention to it. After the cord was cut, the birthing assistant came and asked what I wanted to do with it, and at that point, I couldn't care less. I said, just put it in the freezer. Fast forward 9 months, and my husband asks me, "So, what are you going to do with the placenta that's in the freezer?" It was a use it or lose it type situation. So I pulled it out to thaw with the intention of at least tasting it and then planting the rest under a commemorative tree. I should probably pause to tell you this. Don't try this at home. First, I took the time to inspect it, and for a girl who couldn't even stand a quarter of an episode of Grey's Anatomy, I actually found it quite interesting. It was an oddly emotional experience because I was pulling this organ that was from almost a past life. I teared up just thinking about the journey I had been on and how this placenta was created and just the whole moment of birth itself. It all just came back to me in that moment. It was very red, very bloody, and it had a variety of different textures, some harder than others, but also very spongy, kind of like liver. It was like a mix of different organ meats all in one package. Now, unfortunately, this video is not what I thought it was going to be. I had footage of cooking the placenta, eating the placenta. And I had my husband in the background trying it with me. And then there was a power outage that fried the computer and I lost everything. Yes, this was supposed to be the video that made my channel, and now it's poof into some sort of tech universe that I can't reach. Of course, I had nothing backed up because I'm a busy mom and I just didn't think about it. Anyways, if we're able to retrieve what was on the hard drive, maybe you'll get a bonus video. Who knows? Like and subscribe. Anywho, after 9 months in the freezer, I wasn't going to eat it raw. So I started by cooking like the tiniest little morsel in a pan. I added a little bit of salt. I really wanted my first taste to be very pure. I did taste it, and I am glad I only cooked that small piece because I wouldn't have consumed any more than that on its own. And then I prepared some more of the placenta. I chopped it up finely. I added onions and sausage just to mask the flavor because in general, I just don't like the taste of organ meat. Usually I mix it with other things. I went to my garden to get some oregano, put some garnish on there to zhuzh it up a little bit. And like that, it was palatable. I had a decent sized plate and I had it for my lunch. Even my husband had it for his lunch. I didn't really know what to expect out of the experience, but I was pretty certain that it would be more of a mental challenge than a physical one. The idea of eating something that I grew inside my own body was the weirdest part, as you can imagine. I was very surprised my husband was willing to try, but I appreciated the camaraderie. After our placenta lunch, there was still a lot of placenta left, but neither of us were really into having any more. We kind of wanted to see how it settled. So we went outside and we dug a hole for this commemorative tree, which is a Canadian serviceberry tree. The Canadian serviceberry tree has beautiful white blossoms in the spring. It produces edible berries, and then the leaves go a bit more reddish in the fall, which is super lovely. So what happened after? Like I mentioned before, the hormones found in the placenta could help with postpartum support, but 9 months later, we were far beyond that point. And after all that time in the freezer, I don't really know how much placenta power was really left. I will say that both my husband and I stayed up quite late that night, which was rare. We had a beautiful fire outside. We felt energized. I really don't think it was our placenta lunch that gave us that energy boost. We had a beautiful day out in the sun with our daughter. I think that has a lot more power to it than the placenta that stayed in the freezer for 9 months. The good news is neither of us got sick. Now, I'm no scientist, but I think this was a pretty lousy experiment. But would I do it again? I've taken some time to think about it, and my answer really is a doubtful maybe. There are a couple key components as to how and why I would do it again. Firstly, I would probably want to consume it very shortly after birth, cooked or raw, if and only if I felt drawn to do so in that moment. I would definitely keep it again to freeze and plant. I think that was a really beautiful experience for myself and for the family. I would not freeze it to eat it later, and I would not encapsulate it either. It seems like an expensive endeavor for something that I'm not sure really has a huge effect. I believe nature gives us answers in all its simplicity. Natural birth came before ice boxes and freezers, so the whole placenta freezing thing just doesn't seem connected and based in nature. I'd just rather follow my instincts at the time of birth. If I am drawn to consume the placenta at the time, then I will do it. If I'm not, then I won't. It'll just get popped in the freezer for another treat. It's one of the few times in life where those primal instincts just easily take over, and I just want to lean into that as much as possible. As for postpartum healing, I think proper rest, community support, and good nourishing food is going to do the trick. I find organ meats super helpful. They're a great source of bioavailable vitamins and minerals that are essential for everyday life, but especially in pregnancy and postpartum. I'll often blend high quality liver into my pasta sauces or even into very flavorful muffins and pancakes to get an easy dose. I also find it's quite helpful with constipation, which is a problem many women suffer from during pregnancy. I will say, though, that sometimes organ meat is not very pleasant to process, especially in that first trimester when the nausea is coming in and out. So I will always have some organ supplements on hand. Like I said, though I am open to consuming my placenta again, I doubt I'll have the instincts to do so because the first time around, all I cared about was my baby. My hormones were telling me to focus on my baby. The placenta in the bowl was basically invisible to me at the time. There's so much heat amongst women about whether this is a good thing or not, but I'm more concerned about how the medical system just snatches this organ away without any question. My conclusion in all of this is we should just talk more about placentas. It's another one of these taboo women's health subjects that needs a little bit more attention. There's a lot more to this subject. I'm just barely scraping the surface. But the more we know, the more we are able to communicate, and the more we communicate, the more options become available to us. So if you are on your pregnancy journey, make sure to discuss the placenta with anyone who is on your birth team. Outline your wishes and know your rights. Have you ever eaten your placenta? Would you consider it? Let me know in the comments below and stay tuned for more unapologetic female content. And with that, I will conclude my first series on pregnancy and birth, but do leave a comment if there's anything you'd like me to talk about in future videos. Thanks for tuning in. This is Kayla reminding you to stay empowered, stay informed, and as always, stay wild.